Wow, how do you describe Ray? Probably one of the friendliest people I have ever met. He was one of the first people to greet me when I got to Irwin Army Community Hospital. He came down just to say hello, to welcome me, to see if there was anything he could do, anything he could tell me about the community. Very outgoing, very sweet man.
When you think of the United States Army, you would picture Mr. Ray. He is the United States Army. He's the man.
Ray he's the epitome of volunteering. He's everything, he's wonderful.
Mr. Ray is the liaison for the American Red Cross at the hospital. Typically when volunteers show up, the first person they're introduced to is Mr. Ray. He then gathers their information, works hand in hand with the local chapter on Fort Riley to get them placed.
In the military, we talk about something called selfless service, and Ray's probably the epitome of selfless service. He was in the military, is a Korean and Vietnam War veteran.
I was in Korea from 52 to 53. I left the Army in 55 and went to work for police department in Savannah, Georgia. In 60, I came back in the Army, and I stayed until my retirement in 80. And then I went to work civil service. I was a housing inspector for the post. And then I retired from there, and I didn't have anything to do, and I said, I'm gonna go to work. I'm going to the hospital and see if I could do something to show my respect to the veterans that we have now. And so I started there in June of '99, and I've been there ever since.
Ray has a cantankerous side of Ray, and that's when Ray and I actually met. He was a volunteer in the brace shop at Irwin Army, and him and one of the volunteers just butted heads. And they were both older gentlemen, and everybody wanted to see it their way. So I got this phone call, and he goes, Debbie, you gotta get me out of here. And I did, and I moved Ray to 2B at the hospital. And Ray became the king of that floor.
When he, in his earlier and a little bit more sprightly time with us, I guess, he would teach the young officers and nurses and our enlisted soldiers how to turn over a room, meaning patient's gone home, how do you clean the room, clean it top to bottom, and like a good first sergeant, he would then come back in and make sure they got it right.
He ran my youth program. We had 25 volunteers on that floor, just that floor alone one summer. If you wanted to know anything about the hospital, Ray was the person to go to. He stayed on that floor for, 8 to 10 years. And then they moved him downstairs to the front desk, and he literally started running the entire hospital. You walk in the door and somebody'd ask a question, Ray'd get up from behind that desk and he'd take them and show them. It didn't matter if it was a kid, a soldier, a little old lady that needed help, he'd get them a wheelchair and push them around. Ray is Red Cross, for sure.
I define a hero, 2 words, Ray Thompson. He's a hero. Korean War, Vietnam War, military MPs, civil service, American Red Cross volunteer, almost 60 years of it, and you continue to get up every morning and continue to come in there and do it and see it and still love it. Ray Thompson, he's a hero. He's a hero.
While I was working at the hospital, I had a heart attack, had heart surgery, and I was in a coma for 6 days. Come to one morning with 2 angels looking at me, and we talked and talked and talked, and they asked me if I could do some things, and I did, and I come out of my coma that day. And I promised God that day, I told him that I would work for the Red Cross and work at the hospital until when he calls me, I'll go. I hope he don't call me soon.